Hi children, now we are going to discussing about chapter 16th from the history part, National Movement in India, Partition and Independence 1939 to 47. We already studied freedom movement or struggle in details in 7th class. In this chapter we learn about the final phase of national movement and try to understand the situation at the time of partition of India. You already read about Second World War. It was occurred in between 1939 to 1945. At the beginning of the Second World War, that means 1939, most of the provinces of India were governed by the Congress ministers. The British government had accepted and given the right to rule by India, but only some extent, not full independence. The Government of India Act passed in 1935 by the British Parliament. According to this Act, the British conducted the election. At that time, the right to vote had only 12% per state. For the central government, only 1%. The British conducted the election in 1937. In this election, India won 8 seats out of 11 provincial states. Who elected as a Prime Minister? Those must be under the control of British governor. That means the ultimate power in the hands of the British. British asked to Indian participated in the World War II against Germany and Italy. That means against Hitler and Mussolini. Both are dictators. The fascism followed by the Mussolini and Nazism followed by the. Look at the table. This is the letter. Mahatma Gandhi write letter to Hitler during the Second World War to protect mankind in the world. He said that in that letter, this is the possible by you only. India participated in the war against Germany and Japan. After the war, India did not believe the full independence. British also not willing to give full independence or freedom to India. At the time, there were two different political parties in British, mainly Conservative Party and Labour Party. Winston Churchill, who belongs to the Conservative Party, not willing to give independence, but Labour Party was more willing to help Indians attain freedom. The British were willing to give India dominion status, that means partially, not full, under the British crown. Sometime after the war, but the Congress wanted to promise of full independence. The Congress also demanded that an immediate national government should be set up at the central government. These are the demand by the Congress. But the British government ignored the demands of Indians. All the Congress ministers resigned in October 1913 after having came to power in 1937. In 1940 and 41, Congress organized individual satyagrahas. Many leaders imprisoned for a long time without going to court. The British newly followed a policy that is divide and rule. They creating differences between the Hindus and Muslims. Look at one more picture here. In 1945, the Royal Indian Army crossing the river Irrawaddy, which is located in Burma. Now it is called Myanmar. See next picture. Elephants loading and supply in C-46 planes during the Second World War in India. Muslim League Party founded in 1906. Its leader like Muhammad Ali Jinnah became more active in mass politics. Muslim League had demanded that the British should create separate seats for Muslims. The Congress also accepted separate electorate for Muslims. It was implemented from 1909. In 1937, the Muslims League get only 4.4% of the total votes of the Muslims votes in the election. The Congress refused to form a coalition government with the Muslim League. Most of the Congress party members took membership in the Hindu Mahasabha. So Muslims League believed that the Congress was basically a Hindu party and did not want to share power with the Muslims. Now we are going to discussing about the Hindu Mahasabha and the RSS. Hindu Mahasabha and the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh RSS were engaged in the active mobilization. Main objectives of these organizations was unite all the Hindus. These organizations also gave the message India was the land of the Hindus. Congress tried hard to build a secular understanding among its members. It also tried to contact the Muslims, make them feel secure and remove the wrong impression on Congress. The Congress argued the Hindus and Muslims were not people of two different nations, but part and parcel of the Indian nation. Muslims need to make a special arrangement to rule over Muslims majority area. Some of the leaders support for this. For example, the Urdu poet Muhammad Iqbal, the writer of Sare Jahan Se Acha, Hindustan Amara, spoke of need for north-west Indian Muslim state. In this presidential address to the Muslims League in 1930, the name Pakistan came from the Punjab, Afghan, Kashmir, Sindh and Balochistan. Was coined by the Punjabi Muslim student at Cambridge, Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, in a pamphlet written in 1933-35. But League and other Muslim leaders dismissed his idea. On 23rd March 1940, the League moved a resolution demanding a measure of autonomy for the Muslims majority areas of the subcontinent. This is called Pakistan Resolution. Britishers didn't stand on the promise of complete independence. In 1942, Prime Minister Churchill was proceeded to send one of his ministers, Sir Stafford Cripps, to India, tried to compromise with Gandhiji and the Congress, but talks broke down. That means failure. After the failures of the Cripps mission, Mahatma Gandhi decided to launch his third major movement against British rule, that is called Quit India Movement. With August 1942. Although Gandhiji was jailed too once, younger activists organized the strikes and left their colleges and schools. Britishers arrested them and sent to jail. In several districts such as Satara in the west and Midnapur in the east, independent governments were proclaimed. British took 1 year to suppress the movement. Now we are going to discussing about the role of Subhash Chandra Bose in freedom struggle. Subhash Chandra Bose looked at the opportunity made availability by the difficulties of the British. He said that India's independence was of the utmost importance and we should take the help of the Japanese to throw out the British. He went to secretly to Germany and then to Japan and raised an army of Indian soldiers in 1942. Who were these soldiers? In the beginning, they were soldiers to the British army and had been captured by the Japanese when the British were defeated in Burma and Malaya. They were war prisoners. Bose recruited them in his army, which is called Indian National Army. Later, other Indians also joined the army, including many women. Gandhi did not agree with the plan of Bose and felt that Japan's cannot be the liberation of India. Subhash Chandra Bose INA was defeated by the British army in the aftermath of his "It is not certain whatever Bose disappeared or dead." The soldiers of INA were imprisoned and the British decided to punish them and hanging them to death in punishment. When unrest and unhappiness and discontent developed in different parts of India. After the Second World War, the Indian situation very bad. The people were restless with food shortage, rationing of food, high price, black marketing. Workers were angry about low wages. Railways and postal employees and other government employees were planning to go on strike against price. Another movement started by the Royal India Navy in Mumbai. On 18th August February 1946, the Guards or ratings of Royal Indian Army in Mumbai Harbour came out on hunger strike to protest against the bad food and behavior of the British officers. The strike rapidly spread to other naval parts of India. A naval central strike committee headed by the MS Khan. They demanded for better food, equal pay for white and Indian soldiers, release of INA and other political prisoners. Hundreds of students, both Muslims and Hindus, came out on the streets of Mumbai to support of this movement. On February 22nd, 3 lakhs mill workers put down their tools in Mumbai and fought for 2 days violently on the streets with the police and the army. An agitation was started in Bengal by small and poor peasants who took land of the bigger landowners to cultivate. They demand that their share of the harvest should be increased to 2 portions out of 3 instead of half of or even less. For this purpose, they have started one movement. This movement also called Tebaga movement, which was started in Bengal and led by the Provincial Kisan Sabha. Hyderabad, the Communist Party led a massive movement of farmers of Telangana region. The Telangana farmers came out to oppose the large land owners. Muslim League was the only spokesperson of Indian Muslim under the leadership of Maulana Azad. Muslim League demanded that they want to separate nation. It asked people to come out on the streets. It is called for Direct Action Day, 16th August 1946. On this day, riots broke out in Calcutta and thousands of people died. Violence spread to many parts of India. Mountbatten announced that British India would be free but also divided into 2 countries. Muslim majority area NWFP, Sindhu, Balochistan and West Bengal part of the Pakistan. Remaining area for India. British transferred power to Pakistan and India on 14th midnight 1947. Pakistan will be celebrates Independence Day on 14th August, but India will be celebrated on 15th August. Now we are going to discussing about the partition and migration. With the creation of the new nation, Pakistan, a painful and unimaginable situation arose before many people. Most of the people living the border, this became insecure and by force them to leave the homes. They felt angry and hatred against each other and forced to move out of their homes. 1.5 crore people, both Hindus and Muslims, were displaced. They were killed each other and looted and burned. 2 to 5 lakhs people, both Hindus and Muslims, were killed. They moved out on trains and carts to find new homes. They lived in relief camps. Gandhiji called for peace and brotherhood. Our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, felt very unhappy about violence. That's why Gandhiji did not celebrate on the first Independence Day when he was in Kolkata. Nehru and Congress passed a resolution on the rights of minorities in India, and it did not accept two-nation theory. What be the situation in the Pakistan? India would be a democratic secular state. Now we are going to discussing about the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi is the father of the nation, was trying to bring peace. He came to its capital Delhi only September 1947. The Gandhiji was unhappy with the violence. An unsuccessful attempt on his life was made 2 days before the actual assassination. It was on 28th January 1948 that Gandhi said, "If I am to die by the bullet of a madman, I must do smiling. There must be no anger with me. God must be in my heart and on my lips." Finally, less than 6 months after independence, the father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, assassinated by the Nathuram Godse, on 30th January 1948. near Birla Mandir at 5:17 p.m. in the evening. Before dying, Gandhi reportedly said, "Hey Ram," at the time of last breath. We are going to discussing about the integration of the states. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel played vital role in the integration of the states. At that time, there was 550 princely states, which enjoying different level of sovereignty and independent states. Before leaving India, British asked her to decide if they wanted to join India or Pakistan or remain as independent. But ordinary people and peasants did not want to princely states. Why? Because there is no place for democratic rights and they are revolt against the rule of princely states. Congress also gave support to the movement of the people of the princely states and they declared that they should join in India. At that time, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel took charge of this matter. He began discussing with the princely states to join India. He made it clear that if they did not do so, by force hand over by the army. Almost princely states agreed to join in India except Kashmir, Hyderabad, Junagadh. After 2 years, Kashmir and Junagadh joined, but Hyderabad Nizam want to joining in Pakistan. How it is possible? Where is Hyderabad and where is Pakistan? India did not accept. Hyderabad handover through the force action under the leadership of Sardar Patel. Government of the princely states was taken over and the princes were given pension funds called Privy Purse, meet their personal expenditure. In 1971, this pension abolished by the Indira Gandhi. Look at the picture. Newspaper report on Independence Day, which was published in the Statesman. Look at the newspaper, the Statesman, dated 15th August 1947, which was published from Calcutta. The main headline, "Two Dominion are brown." That means two countries created by the British. In the next class, we are going to discussing about the paper 1, 8th lesson.